Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you for watching my video today. Now, a while ago I made a video about cheap art supplies and I bought some paint sticks which I gave away to a nursery afterwards, and I wasn't going to buy these tempera sticks, but I'm afraid I gave in to temptation and I couldn't resist any longer because I've watched so many videos and they looked such fun. And what I'm hoping is that they will give me the same sort of effect as oil pastels, but without the mess, and with not so much the mess, but without the drying time. So I'm making this video today just to sort of introduce them, to have a little play and see what they're like. But my aim is to eventually maybe make a video where I look at them compared to things like gelatos and oil pastels and see what sort of different properties they have. Now, these are a child's supply. They are made for children. As such, obviously they will not have any pigment information, any light fast information, but I am intended for them just to be sort of a bit of fun and to be something that I can use in my sketchbooks and my art journals. I'm not intending for them to be used for anything apart from that. So if you're looking for something that's a bit of fun, these could be something that'd be interesting to you. Now, I bought the 30 set and here I am just swatching out all the colours, and I went over a black line just to see how opaque they were. They're not terrifically opaque, and in particular the neon colours and the metallic colours are definitely not even as opaque as the others. The white is pretty good and the black is pretty good. The darker colours are a bit better, but they certainly, you can see that black line quite easily through them. I wanted to also then test out how smudgeable they were. Now, I had watched videos, so I did know that they do dry very quickly. So the first one I decided to see if you smudged it straight away, could you get any colour? And there was a tiny little bit of colour transfer there. And then I wanted to test them with water because they are a paint stick, and certainly straight away you could get some paint out of that. Now, I left them for about a minute or two and then I tried to rub, and as you can see, they did not move at all. However, the water did still work, and I think I had put a bit more of the paint down for this one, but you do get this sort of staining where it has dried into the card a little bit there. Now, I'm not intending to keep all these paint sticks because, to be honest, most of the neons and a lot of the metallics are not really what I would probably choose to use. So I've got them in this little tub and I wanted them to be stood up so I could see what colours I had, and also so that they would take up a bit less room than in those trays. So the rest of them will be going to the same nursery because apparently the children are loving the other paint sticks and they're having a great fun with them. So I'm using my Winsor and Newton mixed media pad here, and you can see I did run my hand over the paint sticks that I put down, and as you would suspect, they dried really quickly and they were not moving. I didn't get anything on my fingers. So just a few minutes and they are totally dry, which is ideal, and is obviously why they're a brilliant medium for children, because you're not having to wait around for things to be dried. I'm just masking off my page into 4 sections. I just wanted to have a play around with laying down the colour, and they feel lovely. They feel like you are putting lipstick down, really. They go down really creamily, really smoothly. They don't blend together. So as in, I don't think you can really put down a blue and a yellow, mix them with your finger and get a green. They do layer on top of each other though quite nicely, and I did find that if I used my finger straight away after I put the colour down, I did get a little bit of blending, but more just to fill in the gaps a bit. They are a really fun sort of material. Now, it looks like there's a cat on my desk at this point. It's not a cat, it was my hair. Even I had to look at it and think about, I got a cat on the desk? No, for some reason my hair was just all over the place today. So I've decided to do some different patterns in each of them. So here I'm just going with some circles. I was just laying them down, seeing how the colours work together, seeing whether they would blend, seeing how they layered, and just having a bit of fun. So this first part is just me laying down the tempera sticks. Then I will move into using them with other mediums, because that is what is of most interest to me. So we're filling in, this is the neon yellow, and you will see the neons are much more translucent than the other colours, but I was just wanting to try out the different colours, see what they were like and how they worked together. And they, oh, I should say actually, in this particular set there's 30, and you get 17 of the classic colours, 1 pastel, 6 metallics and 6 neons. I would have, in my personal opinion, I would have rather had more pastels and not had the metallics, but I guess that's why they do it, so that then you go and buy the pastels. I've already looked. So you never know, I might, if I really do like these, I may buy the pastels as well. And once I'd let these just have a few minutes of drying time, I decided to have a go with some other materials. So the first thing I wanted to do was to try watercolour over the top. Now, to start with, it wasn't really moving, but I did sort of really go in where the thicker areas of the tempera stick was, and when I was really scrubbing it, some of the colour was moving a little bit, but on the whole it stays more or less where you want it to be. So I was quite happy with that. I then wanted to check out with acrylic markers, because one of my issues with oil pastels, as well as the fact that you do have to set them, is that they have to be the final thing you use. Once you put that oil pastel down, you cannot put anything else on top of it. So I like the feel of using oil pastels, but I don't like the fact that then I can't do anything else on top. These you can. Here I was using the Arrtx acrylic markers to fill in colour, and they were going over the areas as well. Now I'm using the Posca pen, and again it was fine going over the top of the colours. Here I'm doing lines with it as well, not a problem at all. It doesn't clog up your pen, it doesn't drag at all, it's fine. Now here I'm using some of the Stabilo woodies, and again, totally fine, as you would expect with a woody, because they do go on multiple surfaces. So I had a little go playing with them. Now I'm adding in a bit of Neocolor too, which again, totally fine. I then in a moment decided to try out the scribble stick in the middle, and I was thinking, oh, scribble stick doesn't go over it, and then I realized I was going over the woody, and actually the woodies are more difficult to go over than the tempera sticks, and that's why some of the products weren't going over the centres of those flowers. It was not the stick, it was due to the woodies. And then I wanted to see how they layered with themselves, and that was fine. You can totally put one colour over another. That was the white. I wanted to see how opaque that was, and that came out really nice. And then I put the gold and silver. Now, maybe because I was putting it over other colours, it really wasn't showing up very much. They may be also going to the nursery, those gold and silver ones as well. Then I wanted to just have a little try with some coloured pencils. So these are the Lyra, and also I've got a Polychromos there, and they were fine as well going over the sticks. I think because it's a very matte finish, it's a really a nice smooth surface. Maybe if you laid a really thick layer, it might be more difficult, but certainly nothing that I used was a problem. Now I'm using the Copic Acreas, again another sort of acrylic marker, and these were fine as well over the top. So I think just about everything. So I had a really fun time playing with these, and I will be, I think, making another video at some point, like I say, where I'm going to compare them. Not compare them directly, but look at the different reasons why you might use a tempera stick as opposed to an oil pastel or a Faber-Castell gelato or a Neocolor too. So looking at the different properties, because lots of things have their place. It's just what you would like to use it for. So thank you ever so much for watching this video with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, that you give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, it would be fabulous if you could hit that subscribe button as well. And hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye.